The Adventure of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Narumon Pansamro. Chapter 12. What Tom Overheard. A few minutes later Tom was in the shallow water of the sandbar, stepping toward the Illinois bank before the water reached his wish. He was halfway over. Then he began confidently to swim the remaining 100 yards. He reached the bank, put himself out and set out in his streaming garment toward the woods. A little before 10 o'clock, he came out into an open space opposite the village and saw the ferry boat lying by the high bank. He crept down, slipped into the water, swam 2 few yards, and climbed into the rowing boat. Fastened to the ferry boat, he lay down and waited. Soon the bell rang. A voice gave the order to cast off, and the voyage began. Tom was pleased at his success, for he knew that it was the boat's last trip for the night. A quarter of an hour later, the engine stopped. Tom slipped overboard and swam ashore, leading 50 yards downstream, where there was less danger of being seen. He flew along deserted lane and soon found himself at his aunt's breakfast. There sat Aunt Polly, said Mary and Joe Harper, mother grouped together talking. They were by the bed, and the bed was between them and the door. Very slowly, Tom pressed open the door, trembling every time it creaked when he touched it, that he might creep through on hands and knees. He put his head through and began. "Why is the candle burning so badly?" says Aunt Polly. Tom hurried up. "Why, that door open. I believe sit, go and shut it." Tom disappeared under the bed just in time. "But, as I was saying," said Aunt Polly, "he wanted bad, only mischievous. He never meant to do any harm, and he was the best-handed boy that ever lived." She began to cry. My Joe was the same. He was full of monkey tricks, but always unselfish and kind. I whipped him for talking that screamed, forgetting that I threw it out myself because it was salt. It is heartbreaking to think that I'll never see him again in this world. Never, never, never. Poor, ill-treated boy. Mrs. Harper wept bitterly. "I hope Tom is happy where he is," says Sid. "But if he went better in some ways." "Sid," Tom knew that the old lady's eyes flashed, although he could not see them. "Don't say any words against my Tom, now that he's dead. Oh, Mrs. Harper, I don't know how I give up him. I don't know how to give him up. God gives and God takes away, but it's so hard. Oh, it's so hard. Only last Saturday, my Joe made me jump with one of his noisy tricks, and I struck him. If he could do it again, I'd take him in my arms and bless him for it. Yes, yes, I know that's how you felt, Mr. Harper. Only yesterday my Tom felt its cat full of painkillers, and I did think that the creature would tear the heart out. And God forgive me, I slapped him. Poor boy, poor dead boy. But he's out of all his trouble now, and the last words I ever heard him say were to blame me. But this memory was too much for the old lady, and he broke down entirely. Tom was crying now, and more intensely of himself than of anybody else. He could hear Mary crying and putting in a kindly word of him from time to time. Still he was sufficiently moved by his aunt's grief too long to rush out and overcome her with the joy of his return. But resisted the temptation, he went on listening, and greater that the was thought at first that the boys had been drowned while having a swim. Then the small raft has been misnamed. It was remembered that the missing boys had promised that the village would hear something startling soon. The opinion of most people was that the boys had gone off on the raft and would appear at the next town downstream, but at noon. The raft has been found again. The bank give our 6 miles below that village. There must be drought. Although with hunger would have driven them out. This was Wednesday night. If the boy continued to be missing and if their bodies were not recovered from the river before Sunday, all hope would be given up and the funeral service would be held on Sunday morning. Tom shivered. Mrs. Harper wiped her eyes, said good night, and left Aunt Polly was far more tender than usual in her good night to Sid and Mary, who went off crying. Aunt Polly knelt down and prayed for Tom's soul earnestly, and with such infinite love in her words, and her earth trembling white, that Tom's eyes were streaming with tears. Long before he had finished, he had to keep still long after she had gone to bed, for he was restless and kept on murmuring broken heart desolate. But at last she lay still, only moaning a little in her sleep. Now the boy started out and stood regarding her. His heart was full of pity for her. He took out the black rod and planted it by the candle, but something occurred to him, and he stood considering. A smile lit up his face, and he put the rag back in his pocket. Then he bent over and kissed the faked left and tiptoed out. He went to the ferry landing and walked boldly on board the boat, for the news that the watchman always stepped lights aloft. He until the rowing boat slipped into it and was soon rowing cautiously across the river. He was tempted to capture it, but he knew that a true search would be made for it, and then they might be discovered. So he tried it up as soon as he landed and set off through the woods. It was broad daylight before he found himself opposite the island's sandbar. He read until the sun was well up and turning the surface of the great river into gold, and then entered the water a little later. He paused, dripping on the edge of the camp. No Tom Strait, he heard Joe say, and he come back. He won't desert. He knows that would be shameful for a pirate, and Tom too proud for that sort of thing. But I wonder what he's doing. Well, the things are out at there, nearly, but not quite hacked. The writing says that they are if he's not back for breakfast. Which he is! Exclaimed Tom, stopping grandly into camp. A splendid breakfast was soon provided, and Tom described his adventures. They were a van and boat for company of heroes when the tale was finished. Then Tom hid himself away to sleep till noon, and the other pirate got ready to feed and explore.